precious Dhamma teachings. Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Tengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Tupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice this evening, on the copper-colored mountain at Uddiyana, Guru Padmasambhava. Sumo, Tanchen Katsu, Tuten Siddhi, Tupten Kama, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma tutors, temple and center directors, and all disciples present here over the internet. How do you do?
Aistero Shalane Hola amigo Que quiero mucho Sugoi Ichiba Kimochi Jumi Yapi Purin purin Konbanwa
Today there's no Q&A because we have book signing today, and everyone buy a book, then it'll be I'll be signing till tomorrow. If everyone have me sign a book, it'll be till midnight before I finish. Just now, the abbot was talking about the ceremony, the grand ceremony. Humans are not gods. Humans are not gods. It's impossible to know how many people are attending, and that place, Linwood, is medium-sized convention center. Not the biggest, but it's not small. Most gathering place are not that many people like us. So usually it's enough for them, but for us, because we have so many people attending, of course it's not enough space. So we cannot blame on the abbot or the preparation team. So we should be more understandable and think about it. Like tonight, we also have many people, and some of you are outside, cannot get in. If at the Taiwan temple there were tens of thousands of people every Saturday when I was in Taiwan. But the place was spacious open spaces, lots of open spaces. Of course, there was no problem. But here, it's a smaller space. Back then, when we built this Seattle temple, this is a residential area. And we had many court hearings, several times, many times. And we have to speak to the neighbors that the temple is to be used by the people inside this community. Inside this community, so the neighbors approved. Otherwise, with this many people, they got affected too. But there's a rule in the law that after being built for 5 years, if they have no new opinions, then let you go ahead. Because it's already 5 years, so there's nothing they can do even when we have this many people. So when we build a temple in the residential area, it's rather impossible. Except the rainbow temple. We cannot perform Homa here. As soon as we lit the fire, the neighbors will call the fire trucks. Back then, we drove around to check. Master Lien Bao has gone home. No, not Master Lien Wang, Master Lien Bao. He drove us around. And we saw a huge rainbow rising from the ground. And a voice told us, follow the rainbow. So we followed the rainbow, where the rainbow started. And we had to buy that place. And I did. Grandmaster and Simu bought that piece of land, and that's what the Rainbow Temple is now. And after we bought it, we didn't know what to do. So Master Lien Bao rented a buckle and to level the land, the ground, so that it's flat. And then he's reported to Grandmaster. Now it's okay to build. So Grandmaster and Simu took out all their money. Didn't have much money then, but we built it. So we invited Master Lien Si to hire the contractors to build, but we spent the money. And I just drew the design simply, and then we built it. and performing Homa there was never against by everyone, because we have no neighbors. That's why we have place to perform Homas. So Golden Mother has a very long-sided. We applied at that place as a resident, but Golden Mother was incredible. She went to the city hall of King County and entered the dream of the officers and sleepwalk in the middle of the night. And ours were zoned as residential, and it became religion or usage. To change that into religion or religious usage, we need to have court hearings to be approved by all the surrounding community, but we never did. And it just happened, and we built it. And automatically became for religious usage. And then when we applied for the columbarium, when we applied at the city hall, and they asked, so can you give us the paperwork when you applied for the religious usage? Because we couldn't find any records in the city hall. And we told them, we lost it too, we've moved many times. In America, we have to abide by the laws in order to build a columbarium. And the city hall lost our records, and we lost our records too. So we both lost it. So they just have to approve. Little did they know that it was Golden Mother who did it. Coming to America, I have many miracles. When I applied for the green card, do you know? It was approved within 11 days. How could it happen? When we got the green card, we told the Henry lawyer we got the green card in 11 days, and he said impossible, because you send the application into Washington DC in the immigration office. It would be at the bottom. The fastest, it will take several months. How could it happen in 11 days? Just a regular post would take 7 days to go to Washington DC, another 7 days to return. That's also Golden Mother who placed the application on the top. Immediately signed, and they use express air to return it. Many miracles. Really, miracle after miracle. If having Golden Mother, everything can be accomplished.
我们本来啊，我跟师母跟小孩子。
At first, Sumo and I and the children were about to immigrate. When we heard that it's difficult to immigrate to USA, so we prepared to immigrate to Costa Rica. So everything in our application is in Spanish. That's next to Panama, Costa Rica. Really? When we passed through US, they let us in. And then they said we can stay. So the three brothers have been in America, and they have a furniture store, John's Fine Furniture Company, right here. So with the name of the company, they applied for Grandmaster Lu to be their general manager, right? So Master Lian Ho, Lian Si, Lian Zu, the three brother masters who applied for us to enter USA. That's also a miracle. At first, we were all using Spanish, te quiero mucho. So we shouldn't forget. We should still say, hola amigo, te quiero mucho. It was all arranged by Golden Mother. Without Golden Mother, nothing can be accomplished. Many miracles. If I talk about them, it's endless. So, Seattle Temple organizing the grand ceremony should be praised. After Master Lien Yin became the abbot, he cleaned up the Seattle Temple. It became very dignified and beautiful. Master Lien Yin should take some people to patrol their dormitories and their rooms even, so that it's not like garbage dumps. Because when I saw the rooms of some fastas, just 2 of them, and I almost died from it. The smell almost killed me. Underneath the bed, there were leftover boxes and half-eaten fruits, and we could not see the bed, and it was a hill of garbage. And how do they sleep at night? They climb over the garbage and they sleep amidst the garbages. So they should change. I see the monks and nuns in Japan, of the Chaotung school. When they walk shoulder to shoulder and sinking steps, like in the military. And they walk on the sand. When there are two monks walking together, they walk in sync. And they see people, they join their palms. They don't sway. You cannot walk like Juru. Not allowed. Lift your head, straighten your spine, and you need to join your palms when you see people and chant Buddha's name. Don't be like mundane people. Once you're ordained, you should live a disciplined life. Okay, let's talk more because we have book signing later.
大家轻松一下，讲下话了。在网络上订了一本书，这本书叫《如何骗人》。
I ordered a book online and it's called How to Cheat People, and I still haven't received the book after 4 months.
法官呢问一个
The judge
一个重伤害的这个犯人，你为什么拿椅子
as a criminal with severe injury? Why did you use the chair to throw to the head? Because I couldn't move the table.
也有这样子回答的。你们知道为什么我们人出生的时候
why when humans are born we would cry? Do you know?
我们每一个小孩子出生的时候 ，baby 出生的时候
，when the baby is born, they would cry, right?
小明站起来讲，
And Xiaoming stood up and
我
said,
这一辈子完蛋了。
because I know it's the end of my life, and this life is dead.
我们每一个人这一辈子都完蛋了。
Every one of us.
哎呀，听说男人都喜欢呐、
I heard that man loves the slim and the eyes. The waist is slim and with long legs. That's a frog. Many people use violence this day, but actually violence is no good. There is a rule in Tantrayana and also in the yoga. Most importantly, for spiritual cultivators, we have to remember no violence. Absolutely no violence whatsoever. To deliver sentient beings, there is no violence. You cannot use violence at all. Also within the family, always remember, this is a precept. No violence. It's related to not killing. Not killing is non-violence. It's not right to use violence.
当蚊子停在你的
When the
蛋蛋上面
mosquitoes
的时候，
are perching on your balls,
你就会知道，
then you would know
暴力不一定能解决问
that
题。
violence is not the solution.
好了，我们进入主题啊。
Okay, now let's go to the main topic.
从我
Bodhisattva Huayan said,
为二，见我
duality
实相
that
而
arises
不
from
起
the
二
self
法。
is two.
若不
Those who
住
see
二
the
法，
true nature of
则
the self
无有事。
do not give rise to
无
dualistic
所
dharma.
事者，
If
是为
one does
物
not dwell in
二
dualistic dharmas, there is nothing
单单
with
看这个字
consciousness
就很
and
难
no
解。
consciousness. This is entering
什么
Dharma
叫
gate of
做从
non-duality.
我起二为二？
These words are very difficult
见
to
我
explain.
实相者不起二法。
What are
若不
these?
住二法，则无有
Duality
事。
that arises from
无
the
有
self
事
is
则
two.
是为入不
Those
二
who
法。
see the true nature of the
这
self
华严
do
菩
not
萨
give rise to
仁波
dualistic
切经里
dharmas.
面换到华严菩萨起来讲，
In the Vimalakirti Sutra,
什么叫
now
华
it's
严？
the turn of Bodhisattva Huayan.
我们
What
宗
is
派
Huayan?
佛教的宗派啊，八大宗，
A
八
flower
大那
ornament.
个大神、大圣里面有八宗。
The 8 great
其中
schools
有一
of
个就是华严。
Mahayana, one of them is the flower ornament school.
万行就是法，庄严自己是
That
言。
all actions is Hua, and to beautify yourself, that's the Yan. So this
万行
Bodhisattva
什么叫做万行？
uses
就是他做了一万
myriad
件，
actions. What does it mean? 10
做
thousands
了
of
一万
actions
件的善事，
or good deeds.
然后来庄严自己。
That he has done 10,000 good deeds to dignify
一
himself.
万件的善事来庄严自己，
That's a simple explanation.
这是最简单的解释。
The simplest
那当
explanation.
然，万行包含很多。
Of course, 10,000 good deeds include many.
到最后，他自己成为庄严的菩萨。
And
华严菩萨
through the good deeds, he eventually become a dignified bodhisattva.
这个我
That's called Bodhisattva Huayan. Self
指自己
refers to
起二，
themselves.
我跟他人是一个人吗？不对，
So I and others are one person?
我
No,
是这样子解
two
释的
people.
我不管
This is how I would
其他人
explain
怎
it.
么解释。
I don't care how others
是这样子。
explain it.
从我起二，我跟其他的人，
Duality that arises from
我
the
跟
self.
其他的人，
I and other people are of course two, right?
你说你
Two
就是你
things.
众生是众生，
You are you, sentient beings are sentient beings,
别
right?
人是别人，我跟别人，当然
Other
是两
people
个
are other people. Of course, there are two different
为
kinds
什
of
么？我
people.
告诉你，
Why? Let me tell
为
you.
什么我们去日本四国88林场的时候啊，
Why, when we went to
买
Shikoku,
的那个帽子上面写着
the
两
88
人同行，
spiritual
两人同
centers,
行，
the hats
你买了一个帽子，
have these words
然
written
后
on it
巡礼88林场，
that two
日本
people
的那个草栗
are traveling together.
那个草栗上都写着4个字：两人同行。
So on the on the hat that was written that there are
为什
two
么写两个
people
人同行？
are
你们
traveling
去
together.
过88林场的举手。
If you have been there to Shikoku, the 88 spiritual centers of Kobudaishi, please raise your hand.
我也有不少人去过哈，去
quite many. Those were built by Gobudaishi. So spiritual centers, meaning temples, big and small, is called the 88 Dharma centers in Shikoku. Why the writing is two people traveling together? That's I, this person, and your own Buddha nature. That's two, right? So the Buddha nature and you are walking together. You can explain it this way. I am a person, but the Buddha nature and I are two people. Or we say, you want to do the pilgrimage, and because you have Gobudaishi in your heart mind, so Gobudaishi and you are traveling together around the spiritual centers. Back then, in Shingon school, they have yidam, the same for you and the yidam. That's also two, and together they travel around Gobudaishi's 88 spiritual centers. You and the yidam. And Bodhisattva Huayan said, so duality that arises from the self is two. Those who see the true nature of the self do not give rise to dualistic dharmas. Let me tell you all. Grandmaster practices one body with the same view. You and I are one person. I'm a person, and you're all people. You're all humans. So human and human, they're one body. It's one, not two. But this self is also an aggregate of the earth, water, fire, and wind. When they are combined, the human exists, and when they disintegrate, the humans disappear. The same for other beings. They are also an aggregate of the four elements, and they also non-existent when the four elements disintegrate. If you can think this way, that's the Dharma gate of non-duality. So we are one body, and with the same view. There's no differences among us. In your spiritual cultivation, ultimately you are in union with your yidam, that would be one. You're in fusion. So in the future you can return to one, and not only that, you will return to the cosmic space, to the void. That's why we are all one body, one. You need to think in this way. The Vimalakirti Sutra, spoken by Bodhisattva Huayan. This is entering the Dharma gate of non-duality. So today, Grandmaster is practicing one body and same views. In my book 300, I wrote about my own viewpoints. Book 300. Why I would never sue other people. That's the reason right here. Because when I sue others, that's the same as suing myself. Both parties will suffer. The sued person will suffer. The suing person will also suffer. Are you willing to be sued? Of course not. So don't do upon others what you don't want to happen to yourself. As spoken by Confucius, things that you don't want for yourself, don't impose it upon others. So since we are a spiritual cultivator, you need to know how to endure. Bodhisattvas, endurance is one of the 6 perfections of a bodhisattva. That's endurance. Others can sue you because they don't know any better. But as Buddhists, we know, so we should never sue anybody. Non-violence. You like violence inflicted upon you? No. Then why do you inflict violence upon others? So as a bodhisattva, you should think for others, not for yourself. Only then it's called spiritual cultivation. We need to understand, now you're ordained, and also lay practitioners, upasakas, upasikas, you have walked on the spiritual path, you need to know. Abide by the 5 precepts, not to kill, not to steal, not to commit sexual adultery, sexual misconduct, not to lie, not to drink alcohol. See, Grandmaster stopped drinking alcohol. Although I only take a sip when I drink. But to give a good example, I have to stop touching it. So instead, I eat ice cream. It's fine to eat ice cream, right? The doctor said no. The doctor said there are too much fat in ice cream. Lots of cream. That would affect the health. So I should stop eating ice cream too. No, my life is quite meaningless. But it's fine too. It's just giving an example. And not to drink, then I just stopped not drinking. Because many people copied and they became drunk, and then they could do anything. All sorts of horrible things they could do. They could do it to all the ancestors, everybody. After they get drunk, they don't care who other people are. I always feel that I'm one with sentient beings. By all means, you cannot harm sentient beings. Non-violence. This is one of the precepts Spiritual cultivators have to abide by the precepts. Since you have walked this path, you need to think for the sake of sentient beings, not for yourself. So this is giving fearlessly. Giving is forsaking fearlessly. Duality that arises from the self is two. When you see the true reality about yourself is the aggregate of the earth, water, fire and wind, that's emptiness. And sentient beings too are intrinsically empty, then of course we are all one. Those who see the true nature of the self do not give rise to dualistic dharmas. When you reach the fourth meditative heaven, you know there is the boundless thought, the heaven of nothing, emptiness without bound. Those are the four heavens of emptiness. But that's not the attainment, because the true attainment is when you have no consciousness at all. There is nothing with consciousness and no consciousness. It's beyond consciousness. That is the Dhamma gate of non-duality. The sixth consciousness already non-existent. The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch and mind are non-existent. The form, smells, sound, taste, touch and consciousness also non-existent.
我们这次法会有人结婚嘛，对不对？本来有3对啊，那剩下2对，有一对是想通了。
We have 3 couples for the wedding blessings, right? But there were only 2 left, so they have thought that through. And these other 2 too. So what's the meaning of marriage? That just for the sake of one woman, you have to let go of all the other women. What a loss. In the next life, I have to remember, I have to imprint it on my chest. But sometimes it's no use even if it's imprinted there. And you get befuddled and then you get married before you realize. Someone asked a question. Why are the ancient people invented the zodiac like for the Chinese? My zodiac is chicken. See, I really sacrifice myself. Everybody eats chicken. Why are they inventing those? And the old monk said, to prove that every human is an animal. A lady said, I want to have a pet. And the man said, why don't you consider just raising me? And the woman said, hey, I was talking about a pet, not the rubbish. You all know what is the Dharma gate of non-duality?
华严菩萨讲得很好。
Bodhisattva Huayan spoke really well.
今天晚上讲到这里。
That's all for tonight. Om Mani Padme Hum.